Over the past 6 years here on the Fortnite Island, we've lived through constantly changing realities and dozens of world-ending events. Yet we are all still here. The Big Bang event will be the conclusion of 2,258 days of story building. And I'm here today to summarize and remind you of the important bits in the story and the sudden inclusion of time travel. I'm Adamaru. Hello there. Here's the summarized Fortnite storyline. Before we can look at the key characters of the story, we first must pay attention to this ball of energy. This is the 0 point, the nexus of life. Back in the empty void of space before time began, the Big Bang occurred. An unexplained explosion that created every planet, universe, and reality in existence. At the center of that was the 0 point, a gateway to any and all worlds. As life forms evolved, the 0 point quickly became the most desirable object in all of reality, and countless attempts were made to capture it. The orb developed countermeasures to hide in plain sight and wipe the memory of any attacker who came too close. But it was only a matter of time until it fell. Eventually, a man named Geno took control of the orb, largely due to his superhuman abilities and a little thing called immortality. Geno was a perfectionist and saw the 0 point as a way to create the perfect civilization, and quickly established his organization, the Imagined Order. His plan was to take the best bits of each reality, which seems like a noble idea, but he was also unnecessarily cruel, using the 22-minute loop of a typical battle royale match to force combatants to fight over and over again. These contestants were referred to as loopers, and that's what you and I have been doing for 6 years. We are officially loopers. Geno was unaware of a failsafe in the loop program, which could free the last remaining survivor and return their memories. This led to multiple uprisings, with Batman and Catwoman leading their own escape missions. As time passed, the heroes of Fortnite's timeline were introduced. 7 high-tech warriors who made it their life's work to stop IO, free the 0 point, and keep it safe from harm. As there is 7 members, the group called themselves the Seven. And this troupe of characters spent their lives systematically fighting IO to free the 0 point with almost a 100% failure rate. The Imagined Order stood strong for millennia, but nothing at all lasts forever. Let's talk about Agent Jones and Dr. Slone. If I had to say who the main characters of Fortnite are, I'd say Slone and Jones. Right now, they are working together to time travel back to the original island to set the scene for the Big Bang event. They've been around so long, it's tough to be sure if this duo are good or bad, right or wrong, and personally, I've never trusted Slone. They began this story as members of the Imagined Order, responsible for maintaining the loop in return for keeping their original realities safe from harm, and the added bonus of extended life. These two are likely hundreds, if not thousands of years old. And one thing that time gives you is perspective. Jones began to question if he was doing the right thing. That, coupled with the anguish of outliving his family and loved ones, caused him to snap. Agent Jones switched sides.
Jones!
You have a deal.
Jones's betrayal began the downfall of IO as he freed the leader of the Seven, the Foundation. Meanwhile, Dr. Slone stood firm in her role at the Imagined Order. The once perfectly in sync duo were now at war, a war that lasted years.
You just had to be the hero, Jones.
The final showdown between the two ended with Jones and the Seven destroying a reactor designed by the Imagined Order to wipe out all life forms on the island. She had this coming. Slone got her comeuppance.
You don't have to do this!
Always so dramatic. Any last words, Jones?
Look out?
Without warning, 2 years later, it was revealed that Slone survived that fall, the time alone giving her perspective on life, and she too left the Imagined Order. Her new life's purpose is the pursuit of knowledge and answers. Whilst down here, Slone stumbles upon an ancient world and casually makes contact with Optimus Prime. Yeah, Transformers are canon in this storyline.
The power that once flowed through your island has faded, and formidable enemies have taken notice. The answers you seek lie deep within the starless void that brought you here.
Slone quickly understood the subtext. Time travel was now possible, but regardless of what we do, Reality Zero is doomed to collapse. And that also explains why the 0 point is currently petrified and totally useless. And after casually building an astral projector, she foresaw a time-traveling vampire coming to Fortnite. Weird. Slone then hired a team of thieves to heist the time machine, and now it's hers. It was that simple all along. Unexpectedly, Slone did not use the machine to travel back in time herself. Instead, she reconciled with Jonesy, and they both forgave each other for trying to unalive one another. The dynamic duo were a team again, Slone as the mastermind and Jones as the field agent. Just like the old days, but this time under their own free will. And that brings us up to date, Fortnite OG. We know Slone's plan involves the rocket from 2018 and the time machine from 2023. And quickly, any expectation about changing the future have been null and void, confirmed to be useless.
You're back here for a reason. And it's not to change the future, by the way. Drop that fantasy right now. This is an extraction, and you're leading the way.
The mission was to send Jones back in time to take something, not to change something. We see Jones painstakingly dragging the time machine over to Dusty Divot and strapping it to the intergalactic rocket ship, using material clasps. Those aren't gonna hold at all. As the 4 weeks passed in Fortnite OG, we received voice recordings from Slone, and this reveals an issue.
Jones, Slone here. Jones, Slone here. I feel like I've done this before. Jones, Slone here. That's not my first message, is it?
As Jones drags the time machine around the island, he causes time paradoxes to appear. Different timelines begin to merge together, not only changing the OG present, but also changing the future. Ripples in time affecting Slone, the butterfly effect in real time. Slone has only recorded one message, yet she's done that at least 4 times, culminating in a final goodbye between the two.
Slone here. I've definitely left this message many times before, so get right to it, huh? This is the first time in countless lifetimes that I don't know what happens next. We're both heading off into the unknown. I guess this is goodbye for this me and that you. But we'll meet again. Reality's not done with us yet. Keep the campfires burning, Jones. Wherever and whenever you go.
You now have the story elements needed to enjoy the Big Bang Live event this Saturday. But with all this meddling in time, anything from the last 6 years could suddenly become relevant during the event. To be fully prepared for the future, we need to recap everything. Hit the OG music. For 277 days, we blissfully enjoyed our island, becoming accomplished loopers, playing Battle Royale day in, day out. But something changed. An unexpected meteor was spotted hurtling towards our home, smashing down, causing a huge crater. Surprisingly, inside that rock was a visitor. Literally, the visitor. The first time we'd met one of the 7. His mission was to pinpoint the 0 point and escape without alerting the imagined order. This looked successful, as Loot Lake was indeed the place the 0 point was hiding. But the crack in reality left behind when escaping changed everything. An unknown faction used that rift to awaken a cube of negative energy, which quickly rolled to Loot Lake. It was here for the 0 point too. But dark energy and water do not mix. The cube dissolved. Its second attempt after reforming was also unsuccessful, as the 0 point used a place in between time and space to destroy the cube. We still don't know what this place was. The next event saw an ice deity freeze the entire island. This was the Ice King. His mission in life is to capture and contain any objects of power that could reshape reality. So he froze us all. Little did he know, the island immediately began to thaw out. On day 585, we finally saw the 0 point for ourselves as the vault opened, but most of us were too busy voting for the drum gun to notice. We then had a dance to Marshmallow as Fortnite changed yet again. Remember that thawing ice? Well, thanks to a volcano, the beast inside got out and rushed to devour the 0 point. Luckily, the IO had commissioned a mech to protect the orb, and most surprising of all, the pilot is none other than the Paradigm, a member of the Seven, their sworn enemy. Paradigm was so close to losing the battle that she cracked the 0 point to overcharge her mech and save the island. And after a victory dance, she flew into space to find where that ice creature came from, leading to being disowned by the Seven, who saw Paradigm's actions as betrayal. The newly cracked Nexus became unstable and both exploded and imploded at the same time, sucking Jones into another realm between realities. This is where I believe we are going in Chapter 5, but that's a theory and not a fact, so let's crack on. This eruption led to the first time hop in Fortnite, as the events of this chapter were undone and the meteor never landed here. The visitor's pod opened again, and this time he built the rocket at the dusty containers. But wait, this was not the same timeline. A new member of the Seven was inside that pod, the scientist, who likes to do scientist stuff. This thick boy added tech to the rocket, and on day 748, the end event arrived. In an attempt to get to the IO's bridge of control, the Seven united to trigger a black hole event. This was the first time we'd seen nothing, reality without reality. But we had nothing to worry about. A few days later, the 0 point reset and Reality Zero was back, new and improved. The most random event ever next. The universe of Star Wars dropped by as Palpatine was resurrected and we all got to use lightsabers for the very first time. Back then, having a lightsaber in game was truly amazing. After a dance with Travis Scott, the storyline returned thanks to Midas, a character with the ability to change things into gold. He was secretly building a device which could force back the storm and extend that 22-minute cycle. Midas tried to end the loop. Although unsuccessful, this event gave us an insight into the Imagined Order as we rifted into their offices for a few moments, meeting Agent Jones for the first time face to face.
Hear me? Hear me?
It didn't last long, and once again, we returned to the loop. The next attempt on the 0 point came from the Marvel world. Galactus, another devourer of worlds, felt the power of the orb and raced across realities to claim it for himself. Luckily, his herald, Thor, was on hand to call the Avengers in for help, and thanks to Iron Man, we won an epic battle, sending Galactus back to his own reality.
You did it! Thank you, bus driver!
And then the day came. Jones switched sides during the 0 point crisis event. He now chooses to help the 0 point instead of control it, and finds a way to free the leader of the Seven, the Foundation. Following a quick scrap, a deal is made. To revive the 0 point, the big guy seals himself inside as Jones is lost to the loop.
Here we go!
Day 1411, we learn of a new faction, the Last Reality. These villains use an Ariana Grande concert to read the minds of loopers everywhere and uncover the location of the 0 point. And soon after arrive to eradicate it. The Last Reality long to destroy that orb. The leader of the Last Reality was the Cube King, but he is another character to switch allegiances to the Seven, becoming the Origin. The new ruler of the Last Reality is the Cube Queen, and she is hell-bent on destroying the 0 point. The Last Reality quickly launch a full-scale attack on the island. To get through this, we reluctantly join forces with IO and Commanding Officer Dr. Slone. She sends us aboard the mothership to plant bombs, yet something happens. We were double-crossed by Slone, who sacrifices us to blow up the mothership. Somehow, we survived this, and so did the Last Reality and their army of cubes. We finally understand the origins of Kevin. He was a bad guy all along. The purple cubes begin to duplicate, but one blue cube stands with us. The Cube Queen powered up, and the end, version 2, began. The Loopers versus the Minions of Darkness. The battle was far from even. The Last Reality were going to win with ease. So, out of nowhere, the Seven reappear to the story, the Visitor and the Scientist rushing the Loopers to safety below ground. Down here, the Foundation, having been yeeted from the 0 point into the DC world, has found his way back to the island and searches for Agent Jones, freeing him from Slone's clutches. In an ingenious plan, the Seven and Jones flip the island. The weakness revealed by Kevin years earlier was key all along. Water, H2O, is the Cube Queen's weakness. The last reality is defeated, for now at least. With the island flipped, a new world is here for us to discover, including the home of the Seven. Yet this calm wouldn't last long. The Imagined Order returned, more powerful than ever before, using an industrial drill to get through to this side of the island. Their latest gizmo eradicates building with just one press of a button. Another epic war raged on between Io and the Uprising led by the Seven. And surprisingly, the Uprising was winning. Io was being pushed back and pinned down. So they made one final plan: to end the life of every looper and start again. They erected the Collider. The Seven were desperate. They needed all the help they could muster. The scientists searched the frozen moons above our heads for signs of the Paradigm. She was still alive and she still had the mech. The Foundation did not trust her in the slightest, but her skills as a pilot were unmatched. Rebuilding the mech, the Loopers, led by Paradigm, took on the Collider.
We'll have those shields down by the time you reach the island. After all, they do call me the Legend.
Copy that.
John Jones led the boots on the ground team whilst trying to push his new nickname as the Legend. I'm not sure that will catch on. Oh, and a quick shout out to Peely, who saved all of reality by bringing us that slurp juice. In the final moments of the battle, the Uprising looked to have lost. Slone and her tank was before them.
Look out?
The Seven had won. The 0 point was free, but at what cost? During the battle, two members of the Seven we haven't spoke about yet made a sacrifice: the Imagined and the Order. In the comic book run alongside the event, we found out that these two women are the daughters of Geno, Io's leader. His obsession with perfection forced him to experiment on his own daughters. After leaving, they devised a way to unalive their own father, a seemingly immortal super being. Their weapon of choice was the 0 point. Throwing him into the orb should shred him across 1,000 realities. And that's what happened. But sadly, only one of the sisters survived. Saved by Wolverine. Yeah, that Wolverine. The Imagined suffered the same fate as her father. But wait, plot twist. The creator of the Imagined Order was revealed to be very much alive, currently rebuilding himself across realities, maybe in time for the Big Bang event. The 0 point was now freed. The entire purpose of the Seven was complete. The orb was so happy it began regrowing the Tree of Life in celebration. The Imagined Order was no more. Everything was perfect. Yet another faction survived after all. The last reality re-emerged from their swim, this time using chrome as a weapon. The Herald arrived on the island alongside the mysterious voice of the Nothing, using manipulation to recruit loopers from our own team.
We see you're finally prepared to face your fate.
The chrome was so powerful that even the Seven could not stand against it. All members of the Seven are now missing, except one, the Paradigm, who works with Jones and the scientist's AI assistant Amy to use rift portals to look for those chromed characters. We have confirmation the scientist is alive, but he's somewhere suffering. Amy found a way to portal herself to find him, and on day 1895, everything came to a head. The last reality attacked. Once again, the 0 point defended itself, exploding the entire island. And with the help of the Paradigm, Zero Fusion began, pulling realities together from multiple times and eras. It was the first time we saw the history of Fortnite, interacting with early snapshots of Geno in his younger days. And we think this building here was used by the Reality Warriors, an early version of the Seven. The 0 point once again retreated underground, but this would be its final act. The following season, the orb became petrified, its power diminishing day by day. Things were so dire that Optimus Prime had to step in. Our reality is doomed. Action must be taken. Finally, Slone and Jones have reunited, leaving behind their IO roots. With the time machine in hand, the pair are trying to pull off the greatest heist and escape in history. going back to 2018 to take the rocket ship and change reality forever. Right now, the 0 point is once again whole, and frighteningly close to the last reality's cube. What will happen next? I'll leave you with the clues Optimus Prime left behind. I'm Adam, you're awesome. I'll see you in Chapter 5.
The power that once flowed through your island has faded, and formidable enemies have taken notice. The answers you seek lie deep within the starless void that brought you here.